What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Brent's Fishing Life. I know it's been a few weeks, but we are back with another new episode. This episode is going to be a little bit different. I decided I want to make a compilation video. The fact is, I've been on a bunch of trips and I got a lot of content saved up for you. I thought this would be the best way to get it out to you. So I took 3 clips that I thought were important to me. I chopped them up and I put in a nice little compilation video for you guys. This compilation video is going to be a little bit different than my other videos in the fact that I took out all the sound and I decided I want to make a voiceover narration style. And that was kind of part of the reason why it took me a little bit longer to make this video. I thought it was going to be, something quick and get it out to you, but in fact it took the longest to make any video because it was hard to find that quiet time to do that kind of stuff, unfortunately. So I finally got it done and it's ready for you. Without any further ado, please enjoy.
Alright, what up guys? So, this is clip number 1 of the compilation video. Funny enough, this is actually the first video that I made when I made the channel, before I even made the channel. This is after I got my camera. The settings are completely wrong. I only have 1 battery, so this is going to be a very short clip. And on this trip, we are actually in Lake Mead in the Bonelli area. And this is actually probably the end of January, I'd say, of this year, 2019. And if you look at my kayak, you notice it's my older kayak, and you notice I'm only rolling with 2 rods on this trip. And one of them is actually a Topwater, which is a head and spook, as you can see, and the other one is the Mega Bass, which I always have tied on. And I just wanted to get out there, do a little bit of fishing. I also wanted to put some time in with the GoPro and get myself familiarized with how that works. So that's what that was a plan for this trip basically, and also obviously get a couple fish. So we'll take you out there. It looks like I'm about to go in the water, paddle out right now. We'll skip a little bit. We'll head on the water to the first spot. Alright, here we are at the first area. We decided to throw some lures, and I decided I want to throw a topwater start. I know it's January, I know it's wintertime, I know it's cold, but I do love throwing topwater, which is why I'm throwing the spook. Um, Despite what people might think, I still do catch fish topwater in the wintertime. It's not as likely, but it does happen. Also, we are fortunate, very fortunate at Lake Mead to have striper, which are year-round. Um, Highly unlikely we're going to catch bass, at least a lot more unlikely to catch bass in the wintertime here in Lake Mead, but the strip are year-round, and that's a fact. So I threw this spook for about 30-40 minutes or so, and decided I wasn't getting any action on it. It wouldn't seem very much movement on top of the water, fish jumping, that sort of thing. So I put the spook away and decided to head out and do some trolling. Okay, so I am out where I thought was deep enough to do get some trolling action. As you see, I got the Mega Bass. I'm about to cast it out. And if I had to guess, I didn't have the fish finder set up just yet, so if I had to guess, we're probably in about maybe 18, 20 feet of water. And this Mega Bass lure that I'm using is the Vision 110, and the model I have is the Plus One. They have a Plus Two as well, and each model that they have, as you go plus 1 and plus 2, it goes down to a deeper depth. That bill gets a little longer, and you go down another 1 or 2 feet. So the plus 1 that I'm using actually goes down about, say, 8 feet would be safe. And as you can see, I'm getting that line out. I'm actually letting this lure out a lot longer than I normally do, just to try to get that lure down a little bit deeper, get a little bit further from the boat. As you can see, the waves are rolling in. It's not too bad, but as each wave goes up, my kayak moves, and it also affects the depth that my lure's at. So I want that line out a little longer than usual. All right, we are gonna skip just about 60 seconds ahead here. It didn't take too long. As you can see, it just hooked up on my first fish, and as we know, well, we're just doing the math. It's winter time. We got the Mega Bass down there, going about 7-8 feet. I'd be really surprised if this was not a striper. So this was his first fish of the day, and as you can see, it is a striper. I'm gonna fast forward through this and get the result. All right, there he is. Got him in there, and not a bad one either, guys. Happy to get some fish in the wintertime, let me tell you. All right, got a nice good release on this guy. He is off and kicking, and we're just gonna skip ahead just a little bit. Got the line back out, switch over to the front mount. As you can see, I'm setting the mega bass back out, just getting it to that distance that we want. And it's about maybe another minute to a minute another and a half as we skip ahead here, and we're hooked up again. It's crazy. It was like this for basically the whole morning. This is the last fish that I have on footage. Like I said in the beginning, I only had the one battery, so I rode out this morning. It was basically like this nonstop all morning on the Mega Bass with striper until my arms were tired, and I decided to call it a day. All right, and that will be the conclusion of this first clip on this compilation video. Uh, Wintertime jerkbait striper action, just nonstop this morning. All right, clip number 2 of the compilation video, guys. So we are now in early March. It is still a little bit cold, as you can see. We are wearing some warm clothes, and we decided to hit Lake Mead up again, but hit a different part. We decided to go to Crawdad Cove. I'm with my brother Kella, which is right there in the red kayak there. At this point, I finally got a fish finder. It is set up, and this was actually my first trip using the fish finder. So the goal on this trip was to try to see if there's some early bass action. It being early March and it being still a little cold, the chances are a little slim. But we wanted to take our chances, hit some of the coves up, and also try to learn how to use a fish finder and get familiarized with how that works. All right, so started the day off with the bait caster, throwing a drop shot. It actually didn't last me very long, and I ended up snagging up and smoking that reel, so I had to switch up, unfortunately. What I did switch up to was an underspin, as you see me throwing here. And as we went around the coast, I was just hitting a shoreline with this Warbaits underspin. I'll show it to you right here. This is a company out of California, Warbaits. They make a bunch of different jig heads. The one I went with is a blue sardine. Patched it with a smallmouth candy Kitech on the back. And like I said, I just hit these shorelines around these coves. Probably used this lure for a good 30, 45 minutes or so. And then I decided it was definitely time to switch it up. Wasn't getting any action on it. So I hit the tackle box up. I wanted to get something that get down a little bit. So I went with the jig. What I went with is a quarter ounce football jig, and as you can see here, I'm having a tough time decision what color I want to go with. I think ultimately I went with the green pumpkin, and I'm using this is a double-tailed skirted grub by Gary Yamamoto, and I switched it up to a green pumpkin with a purple and black flake. And as you can see here, I have stuff on clips, makes it a little easier when you're on the kayak to and faster to switch stuff out. And as you can see, that's pretty quick. Clipped on the quarter ounce football jig with the Yamamoto grub and decided to give this a shot, which I did. As you can see, I'm casting it horizontally along the shoreline, just working along the bottom. Spent some time with this lure as well, with obviously no luck. It's still March, still cold. These bass are probably a little bit deeper. We decided to switch the game plan up and head back towards Crawdad Cove where we launched from. There was a deeper channel there that I did see some fish in the fish finder with. So we're headed back that way. But first, guys, I just want to show you something that's really important for you kayakers out there. You have to be really careful when you're on the water. As you can see, it's very calm where I'm at right now on the other side of this island. As soon as I pass this point here, it looks like this, and it can change on you real quick. Just make sure you have all your equipment, your life vest, everything you need, and that you're comfortable on the water. And if you're not comfortable on the water, make sure you bring a buddy with you. Do your research, look at the wind speeds, get an idea when the winds are going to be picking up that day. with that being said, back to the trip. There's my brother. He's waiting for me at the mouth of this channel here. And real quickly, I'll just show you where we started, where we went, and where we are now, what our plan of attack is in this channel that we're at. And this is the map of Crawdad Cove, and the red shows you everywhere we went. And here is the channel we're going to be hitting for some striper here in a second. Alright, smash cut to my first strike. I just got the line out, and I'm trolling down towards the entrance of Crawdad Cove, and just got hooked up. The thing hit like a truck, by the way. And this is my first strike. Unfortunately, you'll see here shortly, it pulls off, which tells me one of the striper got kind of mad at it and just hit it with his head, and I probably just snagged it on the side somewhere, and the fish is off as you see here. So that was the first strike. After paddling back out, this is our second try at the channel. And the second try gives me a second strike, which is awesome. This one actually ended up holding on, and he's a little guy. You'll see me just kind of dragging him to the net. And one thing I noticed, guys, is the fish were kind of overly aggressive today. There we go. First fish of the day, guys. Alright, and I decided to go the opposite direction, paddling out of the channel from inside the cove. And it didn't take me very long. Hooked up again, and this would be my second and final fish of the day. Fought him for a little bit, and he's bigger than the other one, decent size. And as you see, guys, like the fish were going kind of crazy this day. Didn't want to get in the net, and there it is. Freaking out. He got a little bit bloody, but he was just fine. I'm pretty sure we could have just kept hitting this channel here and kept getting on some striper. Fortunately, time had ran out on us. We had to head in, but it was really awesome to get some fishing time in with the bro. We don't get much fishing time these days. That's going to be it. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of my first hyperlapse video on the exit out of this area. Alright guys, we have made it to the third and final clip of this first compilation video. And on this clip, we head back to Lake Mead, but this time we head to a different spot. One major cove over from Crawdad Cove. We went over to Boxcar Cove on this trip. And this was actually my first time going to Boxcar Cove. And I'd like to point out that this was actually the final trip that I took on this old kayak that I had for 5 years before I replaced it with the new Pelican. So as we're going out here, I'm noticing that it is very shallow, even as I'm going out a ways. It actually, you can see here, it's about 10 feet, but it was about 3, 4, 5 feet, a good ways out. You know, which basically tells me that the water level has definitely gone up a good ways, which is a good sign. Alright, so we are out a little bit deeper. It quickly dropped to about 15 to 20 feet, as you can see in the fish finder there. And I'm seeing some really good signs of fish on top of the water as well as on the fish finder. So I decide I want to throw the mega bass first just to get some casts out there and see if I can get some on the end of the line real quick. Alright, you can see just me cast it out a couple times here. Speed it up real quick. There was one cast and retrieve. And you'll see second cast here and a second retrieve. Alright, you see those two casts right there with the mega bass? Those are it. Because I thought to myself at that point, what am I doing here? Why am I not throwing top water right now that the sun's coming up? I see fish jumping all over the place. I mean, what am I doing? So I found a nice little school that I was kind of sneaking up on here, as you can see. Got the top water out. You see it there dragging on the water. It's that white spook made by Headon. It's a 1-knock spook. It's called a 1-knock spook because it has a 1 ball bearing in it. And each time you give it a little tug to walk it, it makes a knocking sound that attracts the fish and they get mad at it and all that good stuff. So as you can see here, I'm just walking along the way. Speed it up here just a little bit. And there's my first strike. He missed. I'm just gonna just keep knocking at it. And he came back for it, or another fish grabbed it right there. And this will be my first strike of the day. And I'm gonna just kind of drag him in real quick because I'm trying to get on a couple more fish in this little bay here before I move on. There we go. I'm liking that hook set right there in the mouth. Couldn't be any easier. And he's getting a little crazy there. There we go. Not too bad of a fish either. Not a big guy and a small guy. Let's get him back in the water. There he goes. I followed that school in a little closer. Cast it back out. I'm going to zoom in over here. Stop it. You'll see where my lure landed there. You'll see some fish here. But the fish are in this whole area and even further out. There's a huge school. You'll see me just knock it a couple times. And you'll see one strike. Send it up into the air. And then a hook up. When they're in these giant schools like this, if you can get one of them to commit, you get all the rest of them thinking it's a good idea too. So they get pretty active. And he absolutely inhaled this lure a little bit more than I'd liked. You can see he's bleeding a little bit here. I had to go and lift up his gill plate and take a look, try to get him out as safe as I could and as carefully as I could. As you can see, I'm taking my time, just trying not to scrape his gill over again. Got the lure out, and as soon as I put him in the water, he just absolutely took off, which was a good sign. At that point, the bleeding had stopped, and I was pretty happy I had saved that fish without having to bring him home if I didn't need to. After that little incident, I decided I would move on, start focusing on some bass, stop chasing striper around, and moved on to doing some drop shot. As you can see here, did this for a little bit, and moved on after that. Changed it up to a whack-em baits. Spent some time with the whack-em baits. No luck on that. I'm going to show you exactly where I went in this Boxcar Cove area. It's my first time, so I'm kind of doing some fishing and some sightseeing and some marking at the same time. As I came around this last point, I had stopped paddling, checking my phone, and it started getting some little tugs. Grabbed the rod and realized I did have a little fish on there. And it was really weird. I was going really slow. I did not expect to be getting any hookups at that moment. I was actually about to bring that line in. Going around that point, it's pretty shallow. Normally I'll reel it in once I get a little close to some of these points. But hooked up on my third and final fish of the day. And sent him on a nice little release here. There he goes. After that fish, I went into the next cove over and beached up. Decided I wanted to get some lunch, rest up a little bit, enjoy the view and my last times with this kayak. Give you a nice little shot of it there. That was it. And about 30 minutes later, it was time to head back to the truck. And that will conclude this first compilation video, guys. I just want to say thank you very much for staying tuned. We went a few weeks there without a video, but I'm going to try to get one a week out for the next few weeks to try to catch up, give you some content to watch. I got a lot of cool stuff on the way. Just I can't wait. I can't wait to start editing some of this stuff. It's been an awesome summer. So thank you very much as always. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until the next video, thank you very much, guys. Peace out.